Ranni has one of the most involved storylines in Elden Ring, intersecting the lands between the Eternal Cities and the stars. In this episode, we discuss the story behind the star that falls on Limgrave, and how Blight, Sellen, Silivus, Radahn, and the player are involved in the events that both precede and follow. What you are about to hear is an excerpt from our new series called Saturday Night Snack Elden Ring, which can be found on patreon.com/SinclairLore. This is an advanced series where we assume listeners are familiar with the lore of Elden Ring. However, if you are new to Elden Ring, we will leave some helpful links in the description. So let's get to it, and hope you enjoy episode 298 of the Snack Covenant. Hi Sophie!
Hi Sin!
Hi everyone, and welcome to
Saturday Night Snack Elden Ring! Episode 3! Perfect. Cut and print.
And today we're going to talk about Ranni, but more specifically, Ranni's star.
Yeah.
So Sophie, before we proceed, can you give me a quick TLDR on the Wall Rider project?
Good evening. This is Queen Yarnum with a special message for everybody listening. If my hereditary position has taught me anything, it's that if you want success, you have to work for it. And it breaks my heart to see channels like this one that refuse to put the effort in. Rather than follow the example set by their peers and receive hundreds of thousands of views covering Elden Ring, they have instead chosen to dedicate themselves to 10-year-old horror games and largely forgotten shonen anime. And if they want to do that, that's fine. They also never seem to ask anybody to like and subscribe. Perhaps they think that social media engagement grows on trees. And you know, it would be wonderful to live in a world like that. But unfortunately, the relative popularity of their peers speaks for itself.
So Sophie.
Yes.
Tell me about the star.
When we talk about Ranni's star, we talk about the star that moves when you beat Radahn. Before we get into the whole mechanics of this thing, we need to talk about what part of that is specifically Ranni's quest and what part of it is Radahn. So a lot of people, when they're first playing it, they'll probably fight Radahn and see the star before they do any of Ranni's quests. And also doing the Radahn fight, that skips a bunch of Ranni's quests so you don't actually do it. So the exact sequence of events is a little bit strange. So, what I want to talk about is exactly what's going on there and who's in charge of what, because I think it's important that it tells you stuff about the world.
Mm-hmm.
So assuming that we just go and fight Radahn, basically you go to Radahn's battlefield, you fight Radahn. When Radahn dies, we get this cutscene of all the stars in the sky moving, and then there's one star that's very, very close to the ground, and it shoots over our heads, and it lands in Mistwood, and that makes a big hole in the ground, and that hole is how we get to Nokron.
Mm-hmm.
Nokron is one of the Eternal Cities, and it's an important part of Ranni's questline.
Mm-hmm.
So you might think from that, okay, that could actually just be completely random.
No.
Well, that's what we're getting at. But is it just a convenience thing? Does it just blow open the ground in that place because the game needs to progress? And then there's another school of thought that's was Ranni moving that? Was Ranni actually in charge of moving the stars, and when Radahn died, she was able to control that one to get it to hit Mistwood, because that's an integral part of her plan, is getting to Nokron. She needs to get to Nokron.
Yeah.
So it all seems kind of weird and random. So in order to understand what happens, we have to get to actually do that whole quest, which is about 10 times longer than it would take to just run to Caelid.
Okay.
So, what happens is, we meet Ranni. She introduces us to E.G. and Blight. And she basically says, I'm looking for this place called Nokron, and Blight's helping me try to find it. Then she basically says, I'm going to go to sleep now.
What a queen.
Absolutely.
I'm going
She's like, I'm going to go to sleep. You and my dog go find the city for me. Right. So the next place there, like, you meet Blythe. Blythe is saying, okay, so Nokron's underground. It's one of these eternal cities. I'm going to go to Mistwood, which is the well that I think people probably find if they just explore Limgrave. I'm going to go down the well because I know Nokron's somewhere under there. So he goes to the Ainsel River. So when you go down to Ainsel River, Blythe will be there, and he'll just talk to you, and he'll basically say, yeah, I'm looking for Nokron. It's somewhere around here. Do you know, like, any idea of how we can get in there? Then Blythe suggests talking to Celavis, who is Ranni's, like, third companion. He's the one who wants to betray her.
He's like a frenemy.
So if you talk to Celavis is like, yeah, the stars control the fate of Ranni. You know who's really good with stars? That Sellen lady. Go talk to Sellen. So you then go talk to Sellen, and then Sellen is the one who says, yeah, the stars are being held back by Radahn. If you kill Radahn, the stars will move again, and that will grant you access to Nokron. So that's kind of setting up the whole kill Radahn thing. But, crucially, Ranni's asleep this whole time. Her instruction to Blythe was go down into the river and try to find a way to Nokron through there. The whole kill Radahn and smash a star into the ground, she has nothing to do with that. She's asleep.
Well, Sophie.
Yeah.
I disagree with that assessment.
Okay.
The way I envision it, so let's say like 5 years ago, Ranni picked up a star and threw it so that it goes and creates a hole so she can get into the city. So as the star is like going, Radahn's like, no, you don't. So he stops the stars.
Yeah.
So the thing is, if you kill Radahn, the star will continue its original trajectory and open the city.
Yeah.
The thing is, Ranni doesn't think anybody's really strong enough to kill Radahn, so she's like, don't even bother with that. Just find another entrance.
I mean, that's possible. But I'm going to suggest that, like, that's not what happened.
Okay.
No, but like this, what you're saying is what a lot of people actually do think happened, because they think Ranni is controlling the stars, and it's like a tug of war between Ranni and Radahn.
Yeah.
But the whole Radahn thing happens while Ranni is asleep. Like, she goes and she says, I'm going into a long slumber. And her instruction to Blythe isn't go kill Radahn. It's go down to Ainsel and just try to find, like, a pathway or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
She probably would have just, like, dug a hole at some point. Like she does. The star's not part of her plan.
Sophie?
Yeah?
So she tells us, like, this body requires rest. That's why she needs to go, like, hibernate, right?
Yeah. She's over 35, yeah.
She's over 35.
Start using this body requires rest, or else would go into a long slumber. Me at 3 p.m. every day.
But Sophie.
Yeah?
How many arms does she have?
4?
Why?
It's a very good question. Kari seems obsessed with making 4-armed dolls.
No, she requested specifically 4 arms, so then she can take a shovel into each arm and go dig a hole.
Oh, okay.
Like, she was taking a little break so she can go and dig a hole herself. That's why she doesn't ask anybody to kill Radahn. She's like, they're incompetent, they can't kill him. And she's like, oh, find an entrance, but you probably won't. I'll wake up in like an hour, I'll go dig the hole myself. You know?
Okay. That's one possible interpretation.
That's one interpretation.
That's one interpretation. Okay, but if we stick with, like, just what we see, though, the star is not part of Ranni's plan. That's actually Sellen's plan. The whole, like, hey, kill Radahn, the star will fall, comes entirely from Sellen. It doesn't come from Ranni. Ranni's plan was literally what you said. It was just, like, look for a tunnel. And we know for a fact that people, like, have been to Nokron before, because there's a group of, like, stranded... I guess they were, like, a band of mercenaries or something who got stuck there.
Okay.
Do you know what they were called?
The Wall Riders.
Close. They were called the Band of the Hawk.
Oh, right. Yes,
yeah, because Miyazaki.
Referencing? Which anime?
Outlast.
No, anime, Sophie.
Hitman Reborn.
Thank you.
Do you love listening to background noise while cooking, cleaning, or going for walks? Are you a KHR superfan? Well, have we got the news for you? This very channel is the perfect background noise machine, and the host won't stop talking about Katakyo Hitman Reborn. There's even a video saying that Elden Ring was inspired by Reborn. And if you think it couldn't get any better, there's a 5-hour analysis of Season 1 of Reborn, and more seasons coming soon. So what are you waiting for? Click the links in the description for more Katakyo Hitman Reborn.
We know that people have been there before. They have actually excavated it before. I guess it just caved in or something. But basically, like, the whole Kill Radahn Smash the Star, that's Sellen's plan, it's not Ranni's plan. From Ranni's perspective, she says, hey Blythe, go dig a hole for me, tell me when you're back. She goes to sleep, she wakes up and you've murdered her brother. And blown a giant hole in the ground.
Yeah.
Weirdly, she doesn't seem that worried about Radahn.
I don't think they had a really good relationship.
No, she seems to have preferred Rykard. She gives him a bunch of stuff, a bunch of Rykard items mentioned, like Ranni gave him this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rykard is pretty funny looking. Like Rykard, the Elden Beast, a Brutus.
What do these things have in common?
They should like form a band together. Brutus can play like multiple instruments at once because he has many like tentacles, you know?
Yeah, Rykard has like hundreds of little hands sticking out of him.
And Elden Beast is vocals.
That's the only one that doesn't have a voice. I imagine Elden Beast is like Max Rebo from Star Wars. It's got a little organ. It's like...
No, I like the Beast. It's like it's very Snap Covenant.
It's very cute.
But Sophie, let me ask you something important.
Yes.
In their band, who's gonna be playing the piano and the guitar?
I'm imagining the band from Return of the Jedi. There's just all these weird aliens.
Well, my question you know what I was leading to?
Yeah. Yes, you're linked to the piano guitar, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited about the upcoming piano guitar. This MCU-style meme that you've seeded through the episodes. The fucking Infinity Stones, and it's going to culminate in the reveal of piano guitar in Snack Covenant Infinity War. So, we've established, like, Ranni is not in charge of that star falling. Sellen also doesn't seem to be in charge of it, though. She just says this will happen. And she says it will happen because the stars guide the destiny of the Carians. Sellen is a scholar of what they call the primeval current. She ascribes that to the stars themselves. She's like, this will happen because the stars will it to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what literally happens is it's not like the stars reconfigure into a shape, Ranni sees a message and the stars knows what happens. One just goes smash.
Yeah.
This makes it seem like, okay, Radahn stopped all of the stars, but the stars were sort of moving of their own accord, and that one just wanted to hit Nokron.
Okay.
Right. So, when they talk about, like, the fate is in the stars, you have to understand that within, like, the logic of Elden Ring's universe, the stars are basically, like, they're either sentient or sent by sentient things. The most, like, important one is the Elden Star. Because, like, we've talked a lot about Altus and Lanedale seeming like they're in an impact crater, right?
Yeah.
You can actually find that crater if you go and explore Deeproot Depths. There is a place that's, like, it's just a big, big hole in the ground with, like, rubble everywhere. It's where the base of the Erd Tree is, and there you find a thing called the Elden Stars that talks about, like, a very long time ago, the Greater Will sent a star to that planet. It sent a star to the lands between. And that star became, like, the source of the Greater Will's power. So there's stuff out in space that's just throwing stars at this planet.
Okay.
That is what is happening with Ranni. There is some intelligence, I'm assuming it is Ranni's Dark Moon that she's following, that is just in space. It wants her to get to Nokron. So the star impacting in Mistwood, that is literally this thing in space trying to get Ranni to get to Nokron by just blowing a hole in the ground. Like, it's alive. So the actual, like, the mechanics of that, like, that's the only way you can really make sense of it and make sense of everything else, because Ranni doesn't know that's going to happen. It's like the stars are helping her, but they're literally helping her. It's not like she looked at the stars and understood the truth. Like, the stars made a hole for her to go down.
Right.
Right. And like if you look down in that area, it is like there's like Estelle down there. There's like other examples of like things falling out of the sky and impacting in like the underground.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Estelle is there. There's some Alabaster Lords and Onyx Lords down there. There's Scarlet Rot down there. And it's also like where the Elden Stars are. Around the base of the Elden Star, you find all these ants that have the runes of the Numen in them. So, but yeah, like the idea that that's what's going on with Ranni's quest. It's not like Ranni, the great astrologer, knows that the star is going to impact, like Ranni made the star impact. The stars, whatever is sent, either the star itself or the thing that's sending the stars, is itself sentient. And it's like, Ranni is ours. Like, she's the one who's going to bring about the age of the stars. She's the one who's going to bring about the dark moon. What we need to do is we need to help her. And what beating Radahn does is it allows them to help her. But from her perspective, she just went to sleep and woke up and it had already happened. So it's not like that's not her 5D chess. Like, she's actually working in tandem with something else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you think the DLC will elaborate more on that?
Absolutely not. I think the DLC is going to be a completely unrelated thing, and there'll be like one item that mentions Nicola.